The entitled family who abandoned me demands I give them a $6,000 wedding dress to my entitled sister. I am the executive assistant to the CEO of a pretty big fashion brand, which basically means I'm my boss's slave, and I do whatever she asks. My job has many aspects, and there is always the possibility of more happening. It gets tiring sometimes, but there are perks to my job. I get free clothes a lot, mainly for when I go to big events with my boss. It wouldn't look very good if I was wearing another designer. But my boss also gives me any defects, clothing that comes out wrong or is imperfect or not up to my boss's standards. Now this, for some reason, makes people think I'm stuck up, but I swear I'm not. I really appreciate that my boss does this, as there was a time when I had very little and couldn't afford to buy food, no less clothing, cheap or expensive. One day, my boss mentions that one of the wedding dresses she had was a defect. It was shorter than it was supposed to be. She asked if I knew anyone who could use one, which I didn't. My best friend of 5 years had gotten engaged a few months before, but my boss gave it to me anyway, and then I gave it to my friend. This friend has been there for me since I was 20. She took me in and helped me find my path out of a very dark situation. I love her more than anything in the world. Here's where things get messy, though. My friend made a post thanking me and my boss, and my family saw it, and this started a stream of calls and messages from my family. It is important to know I do not have a good relationship with my family. My parents kicked me out when I was 16 after I came out to them. My sister wasn't much better than my parents. We actually never got along even before I was kicked out. She was a very entitled person who is very selfish. I struggled for a long time after that. Then I lived with my aunt until I was 18, which wasn't easy as we had little money. I ended up going to design school, getting an internship, and then got a job at my current company. It wasn't until my family found out that I was making good money and working for a multi-million-dollar company did they suddenly want to come back to my life, which I allowed to avoid drama. Basically, my mom and sister called and demanded to know why I gave the dress to my friend and not my sister. Apparently, she was getting married. I didn't even know she was engaged. They berated me, yelling how family should come first. These are the same people who kicked me out at 16, by the way. They even suggested I tried to take it back from my friend, as family should come first. When I told them point blank that was never going to happen, they started bashing me to extended family. Extended family who also started messaging me and insulting me. My sister even tried to call my boss to complain, which is just nuts, right? Update. Little more positive news. My friend texted me today saying her and her friend made a pact to use the wedding dress. 3 out of 5 of them are already engaged. I think that's sweet. P.S. I know her girlfriends very well and they are all wonderful ladies. Update 2. Got a few messages asking if people can use this for a video. You don't need to ask. Feel free to use it. If you do, post a video and let me know so I can check it out. Well, thank goodness they gave us permission. You can't see me, but I'm winking right now. But, I feel like the person making this post has done pretty much everything right. I feel like for any reason, if your family kicks you out at 16, you're kind of entitled not to like them or want to talk to them. And on their side, the, oh, family means more than anything excuse doesn't really work because you kicked your child out at 16. So, they suck. Anyway, let's continue. Update 1. Entitled mother who abandoned me demands a $12,000 wedding dress for my sister. September 25th, 2019. Well, last night, my entitled family struck again. Last night, I got a call from my mother. At this point, I haven't spoken to my family since the previous incident. This is the conversation we had. By the way, I'm gonna act this one out because I have to have fun with it. Me. Hello? Mom. Hello, Dax. Mom, what is it now? A little rude, I know, but it has gotten to the point I cannot even pretend to be nice with them. Your sister is still upset about the dress. Well, she needs to get over it. I gave the dress to Megan. It belongs to Megan, plain and simple. I know. Really? She accepts she's not getting the dress. Okay, good. Me and your sister came up with a way to make it up to her, though. What? Since you didn't give her the other dress, we thought you could get her another one. I can't do that. Why not? You got one for that friend of yours. I did not get one for her. My boss gave me a defect dress and told me I could give it to someone I knew who needed it. Your sister doesn't want a defect. She needs a perfect dress. Are you kidding me? No, she says she wants the one you posted on your Instagram the other day. That dress cost $12,000. That'll be perfect. Seriously, you expect me to give you guys a $12,000 dress? Are you high? You do not speak to your mother that way. You're ridiculous. She is your sister. Do you not have respect for your family? Respect? Seriously? You kicked me out when I was 16. Dax, that was a long time ago, and we were talking about your sister, not me. Yeah, my sister, the one who calls me, her brother, slurs when I'm not around. I am not getting her address from work, and that is final. Fine, but the least you can do is help her buy one. Are you kidding me? At this point, I hung up. She called back a few times, but I just started ignoring them. I really considered cutting them off again. This is getting ridiculous. Well, one, that was fun to act out, but two, I'm sure that was not fun to live out because this mom is delusional. And a sister is delusional. I cannot imagine having to suffer just talking to my own parents. Like, God, that sucks. But, yeah, let's continue. Final update. Entitled sister tried to attack me because I wouldn't give her a $6,000/$12,000 dress. May 4th, 2021. I posted a few more stories as well, but had to delete them to protect myself because things got serious fast, and I had to take minor legal action against my parents and major legal action against my sister. The legal action took a lot out of me, so I stopped posting about it even though I said I would. Even when it was over, I wasn't really in the mood to write about it. I actually deleted my original account. I tried to come back before, but I still wasn't ready. But I was recently scrolling through Facebook, and I saw my story in a popular TikToker's video, their link page here, and it made me want to share an update. So here it is. So 2 months after getting a no-contact order on my sister, the pandemic broke out. Me and my husband, then boyfriend, lived in a very small one-bedroom apartment, so before it got bad, we moved out to his parents' farm as they had a huge farmhouse with plenty of room. I cannot tell you how happy I was we did this. A few weeks after we had moved out, my sister shows up at my apartment. Again, we were not home, but our doorbell cam caught everything. Due to it being legal evidence, I am not allowed to share the video. She showed up and started banging on my door. At first, she was just screaming my name and yelling for us to open up, but then she started yelling various insults and slur. It was pretty much F-word this, F-word that, and then she started threatening us, threatening our lives. And at first, we figured she was just saying stuff to scare us, but the threatening got disturbing and in detail. We took the video to the police, but there wasn't much they could do as they had no idea who she was. My sister does not live in America. We were both born in another country. I moved here on a student visa when I was 18. I got a work visa after that and became an American citizen legally a year ago when I married my husband. My sister, however, still lives in our home country, so me and my fiance pretty much had to sit in fear. A few days later, our apartment was broken into and trashed. Again, the doorbell cam showed it, and it was my sister at the door. Good news is, she was caught this time, fleeing the scene. Now, my sister got into a lot of trouble, not just for what she did to us, but because she traveled to another country during a pandemic. Both the US and our home country had travel bans active at the time. How my sister found a way around it, I have no idea. My sister spent a month here in the state as they decided what to do with her, but they ultimately decided to send her home to be dealt with there, which sadly means I have no clue what her charges are. I haven't gotten any message from my parents or my sister, likely because they don't want to personally mix the pot. My sister is facing some serious charges back home. But I have gotten a lot of hate from my other family members, telling me it's my fault for what happened to my sister. So yeah, there you go. Not really too exciting, but I felt the need to update. Not too exciting? What? Holy crap, that's like season finale stuff. Hopefully series finale so that the person making this doesn't have to deal with their sister or parents ever again. But, man, what a ride. Entitlement in its purest form. Kick him out and then ask for a $12,000 dress. Good grief. But, hopefully this person gets to live out happy days now. Story number 2. Today I effed up by buying everyone an Ancestry DNA kit and ruining Christmas. Earlier this year, Ancestry DNA had a sale on their kit. I thought it would be a great gift idea, so I bought 6 of them for Christmas presents. Today, my family got together to exchange presents for our Christmas Eve tradition. I gave my mom, dad, brother, and 2 sisters each a kit. As soon as everyone opened their gift at the same time, my mom started freaking out. She told us how she doesn't want us taking them because they had unsafe chemicals. We explained to her how there was actually no chemicals, but we could tell she was still flustered. Later, she started trying to convince us that only one of us kids need to take it since we will all have the same results, and tried to resell extra kits to save money. Fast forward, our parents have been fighting upstairs for the past hour, and we are downstairs trying to figure out who has a different dad. TLDR, I bought everyone in my family ancestry DNA kits for Christmas. My mom started freaking out. Now our parents are fighting and my dad might not be my dad. Update. Thank you so much for all the love and support. My sister's brother and I have not yet decided yet if we're going to take the test. No matter what the results are, we will still love each other and our parents no matter what. Update 2. Christmas isn't ruined. My F-up actually turned into a Christmas miracle. Turns out my sister's father passed away shortly after she was born. A good friend of mom's was able to help her through the darkest time in her life, and they went on to fall in love and create the rest of our family. They never told us because of how hard it was for my mom. Last night, she was strong enough to share stories and photos with us for the first time, and it truly brought everyone even closer together as a family. This is a Christmas we will never forget. And yes, we are all excited to get our test results. Merry Christmas, everyone. P.S. Sorry my mom isn't a harlot. No, you're not my daddy. Well, that was a roller coaster. A Christmas roller coaster. Oh my god, jeez. That's why I don't want to take those Ancestry DNA kit tests. I was given one, and I was like, nope, I don't want to know anything more about my family. But, that's I don't think that's gonna happen to every family, but, oh my god, you cannot make that stuff up. Story number 3. I took my fiancé home to meet my family and left with no fiancé. I-30F got engaged in March of this year to E-31M that I had been dating for the last 3 years. It was heavenly bliss until I introduced him to my family. We went home to meet my family, as it was important for him to get their blessing. I didn't care either way, but I did it to make him happy. Everyone was welcoming of him and seemed genuinely happy for us. Before the trip was over, my eldest brother suggested a sibling/partners camping trip in a cabin up north to band together and get to know my fiancé away from our parents. I was reluctant, as I typically don't spend this much time back home, but eventually agreed. The trip was going well, so I let my guard down and decided to enjoy being in the mountains with my siblings. However, the day before the trip was over, everything changed. My sister and her husband were on their 17th argument of the day, and it was only 11 a.m. Her husband stormed out and she stayed there just crying. I don't do well with other people's emotions, so I suggested a hike to clear everyone's heads. My fiancé suggested that us siblings go so that my sister could talk freely if she needed to. I asked if he was sure, and he stated that he'd just check some emails while we were out. Early on the hike, my sister said that she just wanted to go home. I offered to walk her back, but she said she wanted to clear her mind. We continued our hike, and she went back to the cabin. After the hike, my brother and his wife wanted to explore, but I just wanted a shower, so I headed back to the cabin. My sister's car was still outside even though it was a couple hours later in the day. I ignored it and went inside. I heard soft moans coming from upstairs, and then a familiar grunt. I went upstairs only to see my fiancé and my sister together in the worst way possible. Something broke inside of me. I took a pic of what I saw, quietly grabbed my things, and left my ring on the counter. I left, sent the picture to the family group chat, and turned my phone off. The next day, I had 47 missed calls from my family and 75 plus text messages from my fiancé. Apparently, her husband got the text as he was returning to the cabin and wasn't so kind to my fiancé. Initially, I felt justified in my actions. I hate it, but I did. However, I now know that even though what they did was terrible, what I did was wrong too. Sending that picture to the family chat was gross, and the innocent family members didn't deserve to get dragged into that. My engagement is over. I removed myself from the family group chat, and I haven't spoken to anyone about it since. These last few months have just felt so empty. I just want to move past this, but I don't know how. I'm gonna be brutally honest, when I read this at the start, I thought it was gonna be something funny, and then it ended sad and depressing. Oh man, this poor woman. But you know what? If it's a Reddit post, I should probably expect it not to have a happy ending, right? Well, hopefully she can find herself through these trying times. Story number 4. My wife of 20 plus years recently died. I knew she had kept a secret from before we met, but I didn't expect this. Using my trolley alt account, even though I doubt anyone directly affected would even read this. It does keep us separated from my main account. I even posted about part of this 11 years ago with this account. My wife passed away recently. It is torture, and it was a relief when she passed. She was always sick with something. What took her was a sudden heart attack. It may have been coming for some time, but we passed off the symptoms as related to other issues she had. All I can say about it is that it was quick, and she is no longer in pain. I met her at a conference when we were both in our early 20s. We lived in different states, and after a few months of phone conversations, she came to visit for a long romantic weekend. While she was out here, she got a call from her sister that said essentially, if you come home, don't come home. So she flew home, packed her stuff, and moved in with me. I never met her family. I talked to her mom once briefly when I called her before that fateful weekend, and answered the phone when her sister called at the end of the weekend. We married a few years later and struggled financially the entire time. Her various illnesses caused her to lose jobs, and my time away from work to assist her during her various illnesses severely impacted my career. I loved her, but she was very much a burden. I would have probably left her years ago, but the fact that she was estranged from her entire family made it feel like she had no one else but me. If I left her, she would be all alone in this world. She wasn't a lonely shut-in. She picked up friends easily, and her social life far eclipsed my own. We were never able to have children and were never financially stable enough to medically see why, get IVF, or adopt. For all of these issues, I still loved her dearly. We were never unfaithful to each other. I suspected there was something about her family that she was keeping from me, but anytime I tried to raise the issue with her, she shut me down about it, asking me not to bring it up. Upon her death, I felt obliged to tell her family. I had no way to contact them, though. I know both of her parents had died. I knew enough that I found the obituaries before her death, but both deaths were years after she told me it happened. I encouraged her to try to reconnect with her family, but she was vehement that they were toxic, conniving, and manipulative people that could not be trusted. A friend of mine offered to help contact them using the info in her parents' obituaries. She found my wife's family and told them the news. They talked to her and dropped a bombshell on her. My wife had a son. He is in his late 20s, so he was probably a toddler when I met her. She never mentioned him to me the entire time we were together. All I know is a name and that he was raised by her parents. I am talking to one of her sisters tomorrow morning to find out all the details. I am torn because this is clearly a chapter of her life she never wanted me to know for whatever reason. It also doesn't seem like something a woman so loving and generous of her time with other people and children would do. Perhaps there are circumstances around the child's birth that were why she walked away. I may never know why she did this, but I am conflicted about how I feel about it. I will also take what is said by her family with a grain of salt in case they are as awful as she always made them out to be. I'm mourning the death of my life partner and have found out she was not the person I thought she was. Update: I got off the phone with my wife's sister and found out a lot about her family. It was a train wreck. Generations of at least verbal, mental, and physical abuse by parents and grandparents, going back probably for at least a century. Add to that mental illness, including bipolar disorder, multiple personality disorder, and paranoid schizophrenia. It was definitely a good thing that she got out. And what about the son? He does not know yet. He hasn't spoken to his sister in years, family train wreck, but she can contact him. The sister has some medical issues she's dealing with, including surgery, which is scheduled for right around the same time as the funeral, and we will tell him once she is in about a month or so will be better. We shall see. She never told anyone who the father was. She had him at age 19. She got pregnant her freshman year of college. She had mentioned to me that she had gotten sexually assaulted her freshman year. They were both drunk and started making out. She wanted to stop, and he continued. She apparently reported it to the school, and it was determined to be consensual. I don't know if the sexual assault is what produced the baby, if it had nothing to do with this, or if she decided it was after the fact to cope with the unwanted pregnancy. I know not believing a woman who claims sexual assault is a bad thing. This was 25 to 30 years ago. So yes, there is a distinct possibility that he is a sexual assault baby. The family is very religious, so abortion was probably off the table. We had a pregnancy scare early on, and while my wife was fiercely pro-choice, she said she would never have an abortion. An adoption was arranged, but my wife backed out at the last minute. My wife apparently left him with her parents somewhere between the ages of 1 and 3. I heard one story from the sister, but from what I know of her history, the child would have been a little more than 2 years old when I met her. She was living with her parents when I first met her and going to college nearby, so the kid had to have been in the house with her. When he was 5, his grandparents officially adopted him. They tried to reach out to my wife and she would hang up on them. A certified letter came back undelivered. It apparently took a year for the process to complete because of my wife's non-cooperation. We were probably married by this time, but I was clueless. The son was told she abandoned him when he was 14. I don't know what he was told before that. He did not take it well. Bouts of homelessness and drug abuse ensued. See aforementioned family train wreck. The son wanted to know about his parents about 4 to 5 years ago. The sister reached out via phone and Facebook Messenger. My wife hung up on them and blocked them. He was done at that point and wanted nothing further from his mother. He has reportedly been clean, has a job, and has been in a stable relationship for several years now. I have no intention of reaching out to the son, but I told the sister that if she wants to talk to me, I will speak with him. I will tell him what I know of her life with me. I knew none of this. She didn't accidentally slip up around me. She didn't do some quirky thing on his birthday every year. Nothing. The best I can do is treasure our time together. Even though it was over 20 years, I would do almost anything to have her back just to tell her how much I loved her. The memorial service is in a few weeks, so there's a possibility that some family of hers may show up. But I don't know. If there are any further updates, it will be if I talk to the son, or it won't be until after the memorial. Aw, man. Sad themes today, right? Jeez, I'm glad that the person writing this still loves his wife. Some people, they might take that and just be like, oh, all of my memories are tarnished, so on and so forth. But it seems like he's still happy. How he feels about it, the secret, shocked, I guess. It doesn't seem like he was angry about it. But this definitely could have gone worse for him. And I don't know too much about the family to comment on them. But he seems like he's trying to reach out to the son, possibly, and let him know what he knows. And I think the son could deserve that, to know about his mother. So, okay, that's it.